talk a little NCAA because we talked just last week. We were talking about this California rule, this California law, maybe it's a couple weeks ago now. California law that's been enacted, going to go into effect in 2023, allowing college athletes, even under the NCAA umbrella, to profit off of their image, likeness, those sorts of things. And the NCAA, and something of a stunning, I don't know if reversal is the right word, but it sure seemed that way. The Board of Governors overseeing the NCAA decided earlier this week that they are going to allow all NCAA athletes to do exactly what this California law was going to go into effect and allow: image, likeness, to profit off those sorts of things, even as NCAA athletes. Cedric, is this, I mean, obviously it's a bend to what they saw happen in California, but also recognition that it was probably going to happen in other states. I mean, some people are giving the NCAA credit. I think they had to do this, Cedric.
They're so brutal. I mean, drugged to the door, kicking and screaming, having their hand forced, making the obvious decision. It only took them 50 years to get it right, Jen. Oh, yeah, and why did it take so long? Because Jen, 10 other states were down with what California was putting down. So 10 other states were right there. The NCAA, asleep at the wheel once again, finally woke up before the car went careening off the side of a mountain. That's what they did. They overcorrected, but then they came back. They brought it back. Not impressed, way overdue. Did it for PR purposes and not for their own. They finally, Jen, made a decision to benefit someone who's not a head coach, athletic director, TV executive, head of Nike, head of Reebok. They finally did something to benefit the people who have helped make this college basketball and college football great for the country. The billions and billions of dollars. Jen, they're not going to have to share any of that money. These kids are just being allowed to go be Americans, which means maximize their earning potential. Thank God they finally came around and did it, but they get no credit in my book.
Yeah, I mean, I think this, like you said, I mean, I think it was their hand being forced. And, you know, I don't necessarily think that, you know, anybody should sit around thinking, oh, the NCAA, the visionaries that are. I mean,
yeah, right.
I mean, clearly that's not happening. I mean, they just couldn't risk, Cedric, losing California. I mean, you think about, we all know the big names in California, the USCs, the UCLAs, the Cal, I mean, on and on down the list. Stanford. But you think, you know, obviously you think about those sort of premier names, but then you think about all the Division II schools that are out there, the Division III schools that are out there. There are literally tens of thousands of athletes out in California that if that law goes into effect and the NCAA says, no, sorry, you are no longer eligible, think of the huge swath of athletes and schools that would essentially be out of the NCAA. I mean, it would just have been a total nightmare and disaster. And so they had to do this because if you lose California, and they're just the only ones, like you said, Cedric, you know, double-digit states considering this because, of course, I mean, if Nick Saban says, you know, how am I going to recruit against Chip Kelly offering all these guys, you know, not only a chance to play in LA, but also a chance to get money for their image and likeness? Well, you know, Nick Saban or you know, if you're coaching in Pennsylvania, Ohio, whatever, of course you're going to push your state legislators to do the exact same thing. So again, this is not, I mean, the thing about this, Cedric, and we talked about this before, this is not coming out of NCAA coffers, at least near as I can tell. I mean, this is about, you know, a car dealership or Yahoo or Amazon or whoever saying, there's an athlete that we want to represent us. We're going to pay them for that sponsorship. It's not the NCAA giving up money here. The NCAA wasn't getting this money in the first place. It was going somewhere else. So this is about outside forces, just the economy at large, providing opportunities if a business sees somebody that they want. Cedric, I mean, like I said, yeah, this is overdue, but it's not like it's going to fell the NCAA, although some people are saying, hey, why don't we just start over? Why don't we just do something different? Figure out a new way to do college sports. I mean, I don't know if that's happening anytime soon, but it does sort of beg the question, there has to be some systematic and systemic change as you look at the way college athletics is done.
You know, and you look at it, let's look at the numbers. You're not going to get 85 scholarship players with endorsement deals, Jen. You're just not. You look at the basic football team in college. I'll take Texas, for instance.
Right.
85 scholarship players, basically 84, 85. If I'm a local company, I only know 4 or 5 of those guys. Sam Ehlinger, Colin Johnson, Devin Duvernay, Joseph Osai, Brandon Jones. That's about it, Jen.
Yeah.
OU, I mean,
Same.
Jalen Hurts.
Yep. CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Kenneth
and then,
Murray. Maybe
Sherman.
maybe a couple more guys. Yeah.
There aren't that many. So you're talking about a handful of guys and girls on each team that are going to get those opportunities. I still think that it's great that they're going to be able to get a little bit of extra coin for all the work that they put in.
Yep.
That's beyond the scholarship that they're given, the money they bring in. I dream of one day that the athletes sharing in some of the profits. We're 100 years away. I mean, we'll be gone by then. We'll be dead and buried, just like George will.
Though, Cedric, it does sort of, this whole thing has made me think, I agree. I still feel like we're a long ways away from athletes actually getting some sort of paycheck from the NCAA or from their school or whatever. But you kind of wonder, you get one state, you get California to push this legislation out to allow athletes to profit from their likeness. And suddenly the NCAA has to say, we give, okay, everybody can do it, we're fine. I mean, we're literally like 2 or 3 months after this comes to a head in California, and the NCAA has changed it. So if there's somebody, and maybe it's a California, maybe it's a Texas, maybe it's a Florida, one of these states that has a lot of schools, is almost sort of that country state, they're so big, they've got so much money, so much power. If one of them pulls the trigger on something like paying athletes, do we see the NCAA just say, you know what, yeah, you're right, we should have done this, we're going to go ahead and do it? I don't know. I mean, it seems far-fetched when you think about how much they've put up a fight, but yet I thought they were going to fight this, Cedric. I thought we were going to be in for a legal battle that lasted until that 2023 date when California said go. I thought that was going to happen, and instead, here we are. The NCAA is just saying, okay, we're done, go on. To me, that's been surprising, the speed with which they said, okay, we give.
Jen, they don't want that fight.
No.
I'm going to tell you why. They start these little battles. You try to take out California. You try to take out the biggest most talent-rich state.
Yep.
And then Florida, then Texas. What you don't want if you're the NCAA is these big schools deciding, you know what? We can start our own league.
Yeah.
People don't come to Memorial Stadium in Norman or DKR in Austin to see the NCAA. They come to see the Longhorns. They come to see the Sooners. So let's not get it twisted. The NCAA knew that they had to make this decision and stay ahead of the fray because that's a legal fight. I don't think they can win.
Yep. No, I think you're right. And it's going to be interesting to see if this pushes anybody else in the vein of a California, Texas, or Florida to say, you know what, we're going to push for this even more. And Gavin Newsom, frankly, the governor of California, seems like a guy that might be interested in trying to push something like that. We'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned. We'll be staying tuned, obviously.